Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rekah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. So today the Spirit has me in Genesis 19. And I'm going to go ahead and start at the top. It says, and I'm going to go into the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, all right? So it reads, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. All right, because Lot, he had respect, and shows you that angels, hey, when you're in the presence of an angel, that's all you can do is bow to the ground and humble yourself and being in this truth, you see. And we know the angels are the chariots. That's their mode of transportation, is the chariot. And then as we read in this story, it also shows you that the angels can come down to earth and be in a human form, you see. So let's read it. Verse 2. It reads, it says, let me see. And he said, Behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. Shows you that, hey, they were either going to be in their, it doesn't say specifically, but they were either going to be in the chariot all night, or they, right above in the skies, in the streets, though, you see, like, or maybe they were just men walking around, because they, like I said, they were angels, but they were in the form of men. So they look like men. They would appear to men, a normal, regular person. You wouldn't suspect it to be an angel, you see. So angels can do that. You see, they can take on that life form, you see, of being just like a human walking around. Let's get Hebrews 13:2. It says, Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby have some entertained angels unawares. All right. So when we're at the camps, we have to be, mindful that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai could send angels to the camp, and we believe that we've had angels come to the camp on a few occasions. I'm not going to get into the stories right now, but also our elders, you've seen stories with them, and they had certain situations where they perceived people to be angels. Okay, so verse 2. Let me go back to Genesis 19. In verse 2 it says, verse 3, Salakia, and he pressured them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. All right, so Lot was, he knew he was in the presence of angels, so that's why, like we said earlier, you could entertain somebody, they could be an angel. You entertain unawares, like it says in Hebrews 13:2. So you never know if you have an angel at the camp. You don't want to offend Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai's angels, you see. So, just something to consider when we go to camps. The Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai could send angels to the camps. But in this case, we're still in Genesis 19, and Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai sent the angels to Lot's house to warn him about the destruction that was coming, that they were going to bring. All right, And Lot, it says like right here, he pressed upon them greatly to what? To stay the night at his house. All right. So they ended up, he talked him into it, right? Verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. So what you had here was a case of a bunch of old and young faggots, right? Sodomites. They wanted to become so wicked, they wanted to have sex with the angels. All right, let's read it. And that's why this place had to be destroyed, right? And that's the spirit of Babylon America. That's why when you go to Revelation 11 and 8, it tells you this place is, let's read it, Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So Yahushua was crucified here spiritually, because they didn't teach Yahushua. He was crossed out. Instead, they brought over Cesare Borgia, so he was crucified or X'd out of the truth. Until now, we're bringing into remembrance the true names and the truth. The power is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, not know Jesus Christ. All right, but in this verse it tells you that Babylon the Great is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, and that's why this place allows homosexuality to run wild. You see. Let me see. I'm at verse 5. And these are those Sodomites showing their wickedness, all right? That's what the act of sodomy is named after the land of Sodom, because why? Because there was a heavy dose of homosexuality in those places, Sodom and Gomorrah, all right? Verse 5. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. So this is more proof that these Sodomites, they saw the men walk into Lot's house. They knew that they were there. They knew the angels were there. So it shows you that the angels can take on human form. Verse 6. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him. So Lot was like, yeah, you ain't going to know the angels. He knew that they were angels. These Sodomites didn't know who they were. All right? They were stumbling blocks to the Sodomites, right? They didn't realize those were angels of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And let's read what happened. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. So this shows you that these were Israelites also coming at them, because he said brethren. Because Lot was an Israelite, okay? So when he said brethren, he's telling them, hey, I'm praying to you that you don't do this wickedness, because it was our people, just like in Babylon America, spiritual Sodom. You have the homosexuals that are, of the nation of Israel. You so-called blacks and Latino Native American men out there being homosexuals, you see? So that's what Lot said. I said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Because homosexuality, whether you want to accept it or not, is a wicked as hell, all right? You've been taught in Babylon America that just to turn the other cheek and just to, it doesn't bother you. That shows you you're not in the mindset of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Because Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is not down with faggots. He's not down with homosexualities. All right? Homosexuals, rather. Let's get the it's in Leviticus. Leviticus. Let's get the precept. Leviticus 18 and 20, because these men from Sodom were wanting to break the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai by having sex with the angels that went to Lot's house to pay him a visit to warn him about the destruction they were going to bring. Leviticus 18 and 20. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of Yahweh. I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Verse 22, here's the point. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. So it's an abomination if you're a man and you lie with another man like you would a woman, all right? You can't fuck men, all right? Even though Esau Edom lets you do that because he's a homosexual, it doesn't mean that that's, that's okay with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's an abomination according to Yahweh. Leviticus 18 and 22, all right? So now we'll go back to Genesis 19 in verse 8. It says, Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man, so they were virgins. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. All right, so this is showing you that, hey, they call Lot righteous Lot, okay? Let me get that. Righteous Lot, KJV. Let's get that verse. Okay? So, a Christian to read this, and this could blow their mind. You one of these Renaissance Christians, or you people that follow Esau Edom's doctrines and philosophies, you'll read this, and this verse could blow your mind because you're like, wait a minute. He's offering his 2 young daughters who are virgins to go to those men before he offers the men, the angels, you see? Because why? Because Lot was righteous in doing that. Think about that. I have daughters, and I would have to say that I would do the same thing. You see? If I knew I had angels of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai visiting me, and we were in this situation, the righteous thing to do would be offer your virgin daughters to these sodomites. All right? But you Christians right now, you probably cut the video off right here, this part, because you're like, oh, these guys they're a cult. They're crazy. The righteousness behind that mindset is not of the world, People in the world are going to be, that's going to be something they struggle with accepting that part of the scriptures, you see? Let's get it real quick, where they called him righteous Lot. 2 Peter 2, 7 and 8, it says, And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from the day to day with their unlawful deeds. Okay? So that's how we are in this truth. We're vexed daily, especially now that we're, in this truth. Me going on 5 to 6 years, brothers in the camp right around the same, and man, you get to this point, you're like totally vexed. You want all these homosexuals to be put to death by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You can't wait to see the destruction and the downfall of the kingdom of Esau, for permitting and allowing all of these abominations and this wickedness. But Lot, he was righteous, okay? That's why it says right here, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So once you come into this truth, brothers, the abominations that we see, hey, we should be vexed by these things. That should bother you, It should bother you. You go to the restaurant and you're being served by a mo, You go to fucking, a takeout, you get some food. Who's handing you your food is the fucking mo, All over the place, these homos, these faggots, whatever you want to call them, they're flamboyant these days, because one of the things that's kind of a thing of the past is being in the closet. Nowadays, these homosexuals, they're not in the closet anymore. They're all running around, what do they call it? Gay pride, which that's an abomination, you see. But Lot was righteous for what he did. When you Renaissance Christians, you would think he's a demon or a devil for offering his daughters ahead of the angels. See? And let's get back to this, Genesis 19 and 9. And it reads, and they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. All right, so they were now they were coming at Lot and the other man that came in to sojourn. You know, they were trying to have sex with these men. They were being homosexuals, sodomites, sodomy. They wanted to practice sodomy with the angels. And then when Lot said no, hey, you ain't gonna do this, now they were coming at him, the other person that was there, which it doesn't tell you who it is. Verse 10. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And that's talking about the angels. The angels grabbed Lot up and said, get in here, right? Brought him inside, back inside the house, kept him away from the homos, you know, the fags. And then verse 11. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. All right? So the angels of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai smote these homos with blindness, man. That's going to be nice when we have our spiritual powers and we can do things like that. In Jacob's trouble, we will get those powers, you see. But it has to deal with faith. You have to have the faith in order for your spiritual power to be activated, you see, if you will. So the angels, they blinded the men to the point where the men was scrambling around. They couldn't see, and they was just trying to find the door. They were trying to get the hell out of Dodge, you know. So anyway, verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, remember, these men are the angels that came to pay him a visit. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. All right? So this is showing you that when we come in this truth, you know, we might want to bring our whole family into this truth, but this story is an example of your whole family is not going to listen to you. See? You try to tell the family the truth, and you try to tell your woman's family the truth, or your family the truth, or son-in-laws, or you know, daughter-in-laws. You try to teach the truth, and they don't believe you. You know, they don't believe, because remember, not all of our family is going to be part of the elect. Verse 14. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. See, so they were like, oh man, we ain't gonna believe Lot. We don't believe this guy. You know, Yahweh, the Lord's not gonna destroy our cities. You know, that's the mindset they had. They didn't believe him. Just like now, you know, and I've been in this position. You share stuff with family members or with your woman's family members, and they just mock it. They mock the truth. You know, they all think, oh, that dude's crazy. You know, they don't truly believe, and that, at the end of the day, that's why they're going to be destroyed. And if they're not part of the elect, they're going to have a spirit of mocking the true prophets. You know. Let's get a quick precept in Numbers 16, and we'll go to 21. It says, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. All right? So that's what we're doing. We're separating ourselves from the congregation of the wicked, all right? Which are all these people who are not coming into the fold of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. If you're still in that Cesare Borgia spirit, you know, Jesus Christ spirit, hey, we separate from people like that. You don't want to be among people who are exalting the Edomite deities. Okay. Numbers 16 and 31, it says, "And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them." Oh, Slaki, I didn't mean to get that. 45 is what I needed. It says, "Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment." And they fell upon their faces. All right, so the ones that don't listen, they're going to get consumed in a moment as well. All right. We're here being the messengers. We're like those angels that went to Lot's house. The prophets, we're like them. We're coming here to warn you that, hey, nuclear fire is going to hit America. And then, through the Spirit, I was looking at some nuclear, just different nuclear things on the internet. And it was showing me that basically what I came, because it got to a point where it was saying, who is the superpower in 2030, right? And we're in 2022, which, being in this truth, we're hoping this destruction comes even in Lord's will this year, as soon as possible, right? But just looking at it from a standpoint of what they're projecting, that China will be the superpower in 2030. So if China's the superpower in 2030, if they're projected to do that, that's a good sign for the scriptures if you're in this truth, because you'll have faith, because the Bible says that the power transfer is from Esau to Jacob, all right? Not the other way around, not no damn Moab, which is China. It's not going to go from Esau to Moab. Let me get that real quick. I should just get it through the Spirit. I know it. Second Ezra 6 and 9, maybe. Yup. "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." All right. So to my point, Esau is the end of the world, not Moab. It doesn't mean that Moab's going to gain world domination, and then Jacob's going to, Yahushua is going to fight Moab. Well, he will fight Moab, but he's going to fight Esau. All right. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is the end of the world, not Moab. All right. Because I was, like I said, through the Spirit, I was looking at nuclear things on the internet, and it said that, basically said that they will have the superpower by 2030 because of their economy is going to be the best and strongest and richest economy on the planet Earth. So when you have the economy, that's when you have the ability to create strong military. But right here in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, we prove you that Esau's the end of the world, and then Jacob. It doesn't go the end of the world, or Esau doesn't power and dominion doesn't transfer to Moab. Otherwise, the scriptures would say that. All right. So if Google is predicting 2030 for China to be the superpower, and the world dominator, well then it only makes sense that within those years that the end should come, because Esau is going to be at the end of this world, not Moab. All right, if you can receive that or not, there it is. I put it out there. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. It doesn't say Esau and then Moab's got next. No. So let's go back to that's encouraging. Hey, if we don't, in Lord's will, the prophecies pick up this year. But even if it doesn't come this year, hey, you know how fast 8 years goes? 2030. And that ain't gonna go that far, because why? Because Esau has to be in power, not China, when these prophecies are gonna be fulfilled. So you can look at certain signs and things, around us, and we can get a sense of how close we are to the end. Genesis 19 and verse 12. It says, and the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides sons-in-law? Oh, he's talking about all his family. All right. So, I'm sorry, I'm already on 14. Because, the angels were like, hey, tell your whole family to get out of Dodge. And this is like in our world, in our families. They don't listen to us. They didn't listen to Lot. Instead, his sons-in-law mocked him. So that's why Lot was, well, let me keep reading. Then we'll find out who was saved out of Sodom and Gomorrah. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. So, Lot, he was a prophet. He had that spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. He believed the angels of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. His sons-in-law didn't. His daughters didn't. The ones that were married didn't, at least. So they were going to be setting up for being destroyed. So it's not enough that your family you're related to a prophet to be saved. No, you gotta hearken. You can't just, oh, I'm related to that guy, he's a prophet, I'm gonna be saved. No, that ain't how it works. You have to take heed to the scriptures. Verse 16. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, Yahweh being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, oh, not so, my Yahweh. All right. So the angels was like, get out of Dodge, get the hell out of this place, because we're going to destroy it. All right. And then what happened? His sons-in-laws, they were mocking him. They didn't believe, right? But they were given an opportunity to repent, an opportunity to turn their back on that wicked city, Sodom and Gomorrah. And when you really go into the true story, there was 5 cities that were destroyed, not just Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, you can Google that, research that. All right, but this is verse 19. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. So Lot was giving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai praise, all right, for sending the angels to him. Behold now, this city, verse 20, is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one, that and my soul shall live? And he's the verse 21. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, and I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. So he went into a city where he had some refuge, some safety, okay, from the destruction that the 2 angels were going to bring on to Sodom and Gomorrah and the other 3 surrounding cities. This is verse 22. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. All right, and let me just do the spirit. Let's look that up. All right, so it says what I'm looking up now. Basically, it means little, like a little city, like we just read. So now let me look in this other resource. Let's see. Slovakia. Just want to see if it's consistent here. All right, Zoar, so it means insignificant. So it's like the little ones, like it says, the little city, insignificant. It was a small ass little, if you could picture a small little town. That's what we're dealing with here with Zoar. But verse 23, it says, the sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. So Zoar was just a little ass town, but guess what? It was safe. It was a safety refuge, city of refuge. All right, that means little city, insignificant. All right, verse 4 on 24. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord, from Yahweh out of heaven. All right, so there it is, that brimstone and fire. So it was basically like a nuclear destruction coming by way of chariot fire coming out of those angels' chariots coming out of heaven, right? Let's see, Isaiah 13 and 19. Let me get that real quick. It says, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms and the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, so this was like a nuclear destruction, but a small level compared to what's going to happen to Babylon. All right, that's why we read Isaiah 13 and 19, because Babylon is going to be just like that. Brimstone and fire is going to come down on this place. All right, so let's get back to Genesis 19 and 25. It says, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. All right, so he took everything out of those surrounding cities. He took he said, go on the mountain, get off the plain, because everything on the plain is going to be burnt to a crisp. Just like Babylon, America, but it's going to be a larger scale of destruction. Okay, I was just looking at the nuclear capabilities of these countries, and it says it basically takes three nuclear warheads. This is what I learned. It takes 3 nuclear warheads to destroy 1,500 cities. Okay, so it's just overkill, is what it is. The amount of nuclear weapons that these countries have compared to the amount of, that it takes to destroy, the majority of the earth is overkill, all right? Verse 25. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and which grew upon the ground. Verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So this is metaphorically speaking also. His wife, she could have been saved, but she fell out. She didn't believe Lot. She didn't believe the truth. The Lord put the Spirit on her to look back. So if you women who are with a man and he's in this truth, and the brother's sincere, and you're over there giving him a hard time, and you go back to the world, you're going to be like Lot's wife, man, turned into a pillar of salt in that day of nuclear thermal destruction, if you're lucky enough to make it that far. Because a lot of these women are going to be murdered, all kind of bad things going to happen to the women during Jacob's trouble. They're going to need, that's why a man is going to be more precious than the golden wedge of Ophir, okay? So we're going to be more precious than gold, a man of the Lord. Lord willing, I'm in that number of his servants, the prophets. You see, let me get this verse real quick. So now we'll go to Luke. Because everything in the scriptures is written for our learning. It tells you that in Romans. Everything written aforetime is written for our learning. So Luke 17 and 32, what does it tell you? It says, remember Lot's wife. See? Let's start at 31. It says, in that day which he shall... It says, in that day he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away, And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. All right. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So you don't want to take, when we're in this truth, all we need is the truth. All we need is the Spirit. You can't take. All right, Salakia. So that's why it says remember Lot's wife, because she turned back. She went back to the bullshit. She went back to the world, and she looked back, metaphorically and physically. It's twofold. All right. So when we're in this truth, we can't expect to take anything with us. You got to remember Lot's wife. Sometimes it's not even going to be your wife that's going to come with you, because she's going to go back to the world or whatever, If she does, you don't want to be like Lot's wife, and you want to be like Lot, He kept it moving, he kept pushing. He didn't say, oh shit, I'm gonna go back with my woman, go back to the world and become a nigger or become a spick in the world, No, we keep pushing, man. And righteous women will follow you. You see, Lot's wife wasn't righteous. That's why she got put to death. All right. So we'll keep reading Genesis 19, and I'm at verse 26. It says, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. She didn't listen to her man. She didn't listen to her husband. She didn't listen to him. Instead, she wanted to look back. She wanted to go back to the world, go back to being a heathen. And so she paid for her life for that decision she made. Verse 27. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before Yahweh, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. So it was a sight to see for Abraham. Remember, because Abraham and Lot, they were, they had so much riches, they had to go two different ways. Remember when they split up. So Abraham was able to see the destruction where Lot was, but Lot was righteous because he was like us. He was like sighing and crying. It was annoying for him to see all the wickedness, all the abominations, all the sodomy that was going on around him. So that's the same spirit we got to be in. We should not accept, it should piss you off when you see a homosexual. That should irritate you. That should irk you. That's the right mindset. If you're in your, because that pisses Yahweh Bashem Yahshai off. So you should be pissed off too. Shouldn't be something that you would ever accept. You have all these like celebrities that they have kids, and their kids come out as being gay and homosexuality all over the celebrity community, and instead of condemning it, they accept all of it. The one who comes to mind is Dwayne Wade. Magic Johnson. All this. They embrace that wickedness. But if you're a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you're going to be offended at that wickedness. All right. But yeah, it was a sight for sore eyes, man. Abraham looked at. He woke up in the morning, looked across to see. All he saw was smoke coming from those cities. You see. Verse 28. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. So it looked like a furnace smoke, just burned, just smoke all up in the air, all up in the sky. 29. And it came to pass when Yahweh destroyed the cities of the plain that Yahweh remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. See? So he remembered Abraham. Yahweh said, you know what? I made my covenant with Abraham. And that's our forefather. See? And he saved Lot's life, and it was only Lot's life out of that whole city that saved back. Because remember, his sons-in-laws mocked him, his wife looked back, and and it was also his daughters, but they ended up becoming wicked. But because I got to go make some shekels. I can, Lord's will, I'll do the rest of the lesson another time. But for now, I'm gonna close out on that, and we gotta be in the spirit of Lot. You know, Yahweh's gonna remember us. Okay, let me get another one real quick. Genesis 8:1. He's gonna remember our righteousness. Genesis 8:1. And Yahweh remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And Yahweh made a wind pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. See? So if you're in this truth, doing the right thing sincerely, we're part of that number. We call ourselves the hopeful elect. Hey, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is going to remember us, okay? Just like he did Noah, just like he did Abraham, okay? And he saved Lot. Why? Because he remembered. He knew he was righteous. All right. So with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also, I want to acknowledge the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect.